Well, hello guys, welcome to today's test ride. Today I'm going to take you over this bad boy, the Honda CMX500, also known as the Rebel. This is Honda's take on the bobber cruiser type segment. You got a really relaxed sitting position, forward controls, very relaxed, and it's something very different to what your average beginner's going to start on, and something fresh for the segment. So very excited to see how it stacks up and tell you a bit more about it. Let's go. Keys down here on the side of the bike, like a Harley or something. All right, before I get started talking about the CMX500, I just wanted to give a big shout out to Shane and the boys at Sydney City Motorcycles here in Sydney. Those guys kindly provide me these bikes to test ride, and without them, the rides wouldn't be possible. So if you enjoy the review, give it a like so they know you're watching, and hopefully there'll be many more to come. Okay, CMX500 Rebel. I love this idea. You've got a really simple entry-level machine that's super affordable and really freshens up the learner segment in my mind. I'm just thinking back when I was looking at the new learner bike segment, even a couple of years ago, your options were pretty limited to either 650 cruisers or like 250 sports bikes, and there wasn't a lot in between. So here you have a not quite 500, 470cc parallel twin, a relaxed riding position, some really cool like bobber styling, and not much else. Like, they've deliberately kept it like bare bones, nice and simple, so that a learner rider can just get on and just enjoy the experience straight away. So like I was saying, parallel twin. The engine actually feels very familiar to me because this is the same engine that they have in the CB 500 series, the CBR 500, the CBX 500, and so on. So yeah, it feels very familiar. It's a 180-degree parallel twin. It's very tractable. It's got a nice little amount of torque, and I'm just going to give it a little squirt here and see how it goes. Look at that. Nice, gentle pull, but like gets you up to highway speeds, no issue at all. So if you're just getting started riding, don't be intimidated by the fact that it's 500 cc's. This is a very usable engine and a very easygoing engine, so you're not going to get yourself into any strife. Before we go any further, I'll just splice in a little sound clip here as well with my high quality mic, so you can get a bit of a feel for what the old Rebel sounds like. So the suspension on the CMX500 is pretty basic. You got non-adjustable forks up front and a twin coilover setup at the back. The ride quality is lovely. It suits the style of bike. It's smooth, it's plush, and I think what's contributing to that as well is the bike doesn't have your traditional 17-inch sports bike rims on it. It's got 16-inch rims with a nice fat chunky tyre, which not only adds to the cool look, but I think it's helping with this ride quality because you're just getting that extra bit of suspension give, if you like, from the sidewall of the tyre. Ergonomics wise, it's very different to most things I've ridden before because, like I was saying, it feels more in the cruiser kind of vein of things. My feet are like almost close to my hands, like well forward. You've got this narrow peanut tank a la like a Harley-Davidson Sportster or something, so it's very slim through the middle, and obviously that nice parallel twin engine helps with that. All in all, very comfortable. It's also got that typical cruiser, very low seat height as well. So I found even when I first got on the bike, even though the controls were in an unusual place and that felt a bit foreign to me, the low seat height gives you like plenty of confidence. You know, you're not worried about losing your balance or anything because the bike's nice and stable. Let's wind on a bit. Yep, reminds me a lot of the old CBR 500. Clean revving, easygoing power plant. Great stuff. Alright, here's one of my favourite parts of my test ride, where I take it into a little car park here and we see what the old slow speed maneuverability is like. And I feel like this one's going to be a bit of a challenge for me because of the slightly foreign ergonomics. I feel like I'm going to be a little bit challenged here, but everybody loves a challenge, right? So here we go. Fast idle, rear brake, turn those bars. Yeah, not bad. I think more than anything, it's the ergonomics that are making that tricky. I think in terms of maneuverability, the bike's great. It's just the operator maybe not so used to these controls. But yeah, good turning circle, good for city riding. Okay, so fair to say, competent learner bike. It's going to do lots of things well. You're going to be able to cruise around the city on it like I am now. You saw before, it's got good acceleration, so you're going to be able to take it out of town and enjoy a few country roads and stuff. But I think another thing we've got to talk about on this bike is the styling, right? Because to me, that's what really sets it apart from the other bikes in this segment. Is, you know, this is just out of left field and it's something new for the segment. So I love the old school touches. Like I said, you've got the key down here off the side of the tank. You've got this narrow sculpted peanut tank, single round headlight. You've got the nice scalloped seat, which I really like as well. And I've also just seen as well, there's a bunch of cool accessories that you can chuck on these things as well. So you can put on footboards to move the controls even further forward. You can add a screen to give you a bit more touring capability, and saddlebags as well. So you've got the option of strapping a bit of luggage to the back of this thing as well. One thing to note there's not a whole heap of ground clearance, which I mean is common for a cruiser, but just worth pointing out. If you're going around tight turns, don't give yourself too much lean or you will scrape your boots or the pegs. But like I said before, you've got a low seat height, which is good for control, and you can't have everything, right? So it's just a little trade-off there. I've got nothing for a little while behind me, so I'm just going to do like a little brake test here. Okay. So the brakes. Lever requires a decent amount of effort to get good braking force, but the bike doesn't weigh a whole lot, so you're still getting good performance. From what I can see, it's got a similar braking system up front to the CBR 500. It's got a twin piston caliper and a single floating disc. So adequate stopping performance, I would say. Let's have a bit more fun with some highway acceleration. Well, it's hard for me to say what RPM I was doing because the dash here doesn't have a tachometer, but it feels like when you're in the mid-range you get a really good pickup from this thing. It's a little bit sluggish off the bottom, but as soon as I'm guessing 3,000-4,000 RPM, as soon as you get up in that 3,000-4,000 range, the torque picks up beautifully, and from there it's a really smooth revving engine. I'm really digging this. This is a really easy way to just enjoy chilled out motorcycling. So in terms of like general usability and stuff, like I said before, it's a pretty basic bike. You've got ABS on the front wheel, which is fantastic. I think that's almost to be expected on a new bike in 2017. But nonetheless, you got ABS. I'll splice in a bit of video here where you can get a better look at the digital dash I've got here. You got pretty basic controls: time, odometer, speed, and fuel. And same with the switch gear. You've got all the usual stuff. You've just got like hazards, indicators, nothing that you don't need, basically. Again, in keeping with the price point, I think that's fantastic. So I'd be interested to hear what you guys think of this machine, because what I'm trying to work out now is who it's going to appeal to. Like, are you getting started with riding and thinking about one of these? I think you're probably also going to be interested in like maybe the Harley Street 500, maybe like a Kawasaki 650 Cruiser. There's a couple of other similar options, but they're all much dearer than this bike. And like I was saying before, I think that's one of the best things this thing has going in its favour, is that it's just really well priced. Like here in Australia, these are going to go for about $9 grand out the door. And when you consider this is like a grown-up bike that you could keep for a couple of years, you get that Honda build quality and a 500cc engine that you can actually use on the highway. I think that's a steal. So there you go, folks, the Honda CMX500 Rebel. I love the fact that this bobber style of bike is now available right from the beginning of motorcycling, because not everyone wants to get on a Ninja 300 or an R3 or something. So I think it's fantastic that you've got other options in the beginner segment now, and that they're of the high standard you would normally expect from Honda. Alright guys, almost time to give the Rebel back. Thanks again for tuning in. But if you've got any questions about the CMX, hit me up in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer it for you. Until next time, cheers guys.